Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I'm going to do a little bit more work on the S-4000 console. Basically what I'm looking at doing today is this area here. I was planning to put a nice LCD monitor in there to be able to use with this thing. So we'll have the green screen monitor, we'll have the, hopefully we'll have that colour monitor if we can do something with it there. And then I fancied a LCD panel there. And what I've got now, if you're familiar with my channel, if you watch my channel for some time, you'll remember I used to have this up in my office as a test monitor. It's just a cheap Maxim brand LCD television, analog LCD television, 4:3 aspect ratio. But this is quite nice, and it's got just every input you could ever really want on it. It's got VGA on it, it's got a SCART socket for RGB, it's got S-video on it, it's got composite video on it, it's even got component on it. So which does make it quite a nice monitor to have built in, something like this. What I found that's even better, when I measure it up, it is basically exactly from there to there, and pretty much from there to there, exactly the same size as that cutout, as in I'm not going to have to start modifying that. I'm hoping this is going to actually go straight in there like that. So what I thought we'll do in this video, first thing we'll do is we'll get the front panel. In fact, we'll do that right now. I'm speaking to you right now. We'll get this front panel off because that bezel comes off with just a few screws. I didn't actually put all the screws back in it, so I'll have to stand up for this so I can see them. But there's I only even put 2 screws in it. There should be 3 along this top edge, but I actually only ever put 2 back in. We'll take these screws out. Now there should be 3 screws along this top, but I didn't put the that one in. And there should be another 2 screws down the sides here again. They weren't actually in when I got the thing, they were already missing, but we should now be able to pull and the entire front bezel comes off. Now what I'll do, I'll get you closer onto here, and we'll get this all stripped out, and we'll have a look, and then we'll have a look at stripping that monitor down and see how easy it's going to be to get that monitor mounted in this position. So I'll get the video paused, and I'll get you set up so you can see a bit better what I'm doing. So back in a sec. Okay, so basically this is what we're going to take out, and I'm hoping that we're not going to have to do too much more removal. Let's have a quick look here. I'm just duck down there and grab my glasses. That's better. I can actually see the screw heads now. These will all go in my box for further. And this isn't mega useful, this first one, but there's some nice precision potentiometers on there. There's some nice switches we can reuse. That's one of these multi-turn, incredibly accurate potentiometers. Again, there's connectors and things like that. So that will come in useful in the future. And take these blanks off. And we've got another one that's stuck. I have found quite a few screws on this thing as I've been working on it that have been really seized in there. Yeah, and the next one along comes out perfectly. So we've got one down at the bottom there that's stuck, so I'm hoping if we can take everything else out round it, we might be able to just ease that out. Yeah, we should be able to. Let's see if we can get this one off. when I've got a nice pot started, I'm throwing all these spare screws in because I'm sure they'll come in handy for something. Take those off. Now this is a unit I'm going to have a play about with. It's something to do with the video side of it. It just says backscatter on it. Oh, 115 volts AC. I think it was actually, it is really designed for 100 volts AC to be honest, but divider in and video out. So I don't know, I'll play with that at some point. Right, we should be able to get this. There we are. And that screw should just spin out. There we are, that's better. Right. I will keep those for now because they're aluminium and quite useful. So we'll put those to one side for now. Throw that with that. Excuse me. I'll get my screw pot. They all can go in there. Right. So we've got our space basically now. Where's that monitor? What I'll do, let's take a look at that monitor. We'll get that monitor out of its case and we'll see how much work we're going to need to do to actually get it mounted in there. So we may as well, seeing we're here, use the new table. Let me grab the screen that we're going to use. I mean, this has already been modified to some extent in the past because I actually used to have this screwed to the wall. I think I paid £2 or £3 for this from a car boot. I didn't pay very much, it would have been £5 at the most, I think it was under that. But I actually drilled a hole there and I drilled a hole there. And I actually had it in the corner of the room with some raw plugs in the wall, and I actually just basically screwed it to the corner of the room like that. That's how I had it mounted. But we don't want the plastic anymore. All we're really interested in is the guts inside it. So we'll get all these screws out. That's 2 more there. Okay. Right, there we go. Hopefully we can get this back cover off. There we are. Let's try and get it off without doing any damage, obviously, because we do. There we are. That's off. Right, and that can go for rubbish. Hopefully we can get this board out. This actually looks fairly decent. We'll disconnect these little speakers. Because I mean, this does have an audio system on it as well. We might actually be able to utilise that, possibly with some different speakers. I'm not sure. They look a bit feeble. What we're trying to do is basically get the main part of this out. Just turn my heater down as well because I'm cooking in here at the moment. There we go. Right. There we go. Now that board, yeah, that's the left and right audio input, composite input, and then we've got a headphone. I think that's headphone output. Yeah, that's headphone output, so we're not too interested in that one, but obviously the composite and the left and right audio input are useful. Now, so what I don't want to do is force anything and break anything, because I do want to reuse the electronics in this thing. I'm wondering, in fact, if it's all going to come out in one. I'll disconnect these pieces that obviously hold it in. There we are, that's come out. That's better. That's a lot better now. Now we can actually see down and see what we're doing. We'll get all these screws out. That's the infrared sensor, because this actually is a remote control, and I do have a remote control that does actually work this, so that might be quite handy. Bit careful there, because that's the high voltage connection for the backlight. Right. Oh, and there's even more screws. There's 4 more screws, and I think that's it. I think that should allow us to lift the actual LCD unit out. 2 wire. So where do you two go? That's the switch. Now what are they doing there? That's interesting. So I've got a switch panel there, which only got 2 wires, and I can't see any logic on there either. That is strange. Right. Now the great thing with doing anything like this is the number of self-tappers that you manage to get your hands on. So I've always got self-tappers if you're missing any old systems or anything I'm working on. I've always got some good spares out of doing things like this. Right, let's have a see if we can lift that now. That's it. Right, we're out of the old cabinet. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that. This is the bit we want. This is going to come a bit more apart than it is at the moment. In fact, that might be the thing to do, because all we want to do at the moment is just fiddle about with the actual panel itself. We probably would be best with this disconnected from it, so we'll disconnect the main, the LVDS cable. I can't quite remember, it's a long time since I fiddled about doing these. We'll disconnect that. That goes to the actual screen proper. In fact, we might be better disconnecting it from the screen side. Yeah, that's disconnected. We'll reconnect that one so we don't forget. There we are, that's connected back up. So that's all that free, that's the speaker free. We'll take the high voltage connection. I took one of the screws out from that to get that free from there. Let me just tighten that screw up. I don't want it to flop about. Let's disconnect that from there. There we are. I'll disconnect that speaker. In fact, that doesn't want to disconnect. I'll cut that cable tie there. Where's my snips gone? No, that'll do. Okay. Now we should be able to separate the two. There we go. Right. Put that to one side, and I can take all the electronics out of the way, keep them out of harm's way for now. Can we somehow mount that so it's going to be safe? Yeah, I could put that screw back in there and that should hold it. That's just the inverter board for the backlights, because obviously this is quite an old monitor. It doesn't use LED technology for the backlight, it still uses fluorescent tubes. Right, and there we are. Excellent. And that is pretty much perfect size wise to go in there. So what I'm going to have to do, let's see if it'll drop in. I'll have to take them things off from the top, I think, to get it to drop in, but I think that looks like it's going to be absolutely perfect. In fact, let's disconnect the let's actually disconnect those cables from the inverter. Let's take these little plastic brackets off. There we go. I'm going to take them all off. There we go. We won't throw them away just yet. Let me get you up and look at the big hole there. I'll take them LCD panel. I think this is going to work really well. Look at that. And we're going to be a little bit we're going to lose a little bit top and bottom, I think. Let's have a look at that compared with the yeah, we're going to lose a little bit top and bottom, but to be honest, we can get away with that. We can tweak that with the geometry of the screen. So we will actually get away with that. Yeah, we can bring it in on the adjustment like that and get it set right. That's going to work out really very nicely. So all I need to do now is figure out a way of actually mounting that firmly in position there, and then we can look at connecting the electronics back up to the back of it. And yeah, I think that should actually work really well. What I'll do, I'm just going to pause the video, and what I'll have a look at doing is modifying these brackets that came with it, perhaps cut them down a little bit so I can fit these brackets in at either side. I might have to just drill some holes just to hold it. Yeah, what I'll do, I'll figure it out and then I'll come back to you as soon as I figure out exactly how I'm going to mount this screen actually into place there. So again, back in a sec. Okay, we've got the LCD mounted. As you can see, it's actually really quite solid, and what I've done, I took a couple of the brackets that actually was used in the original set, turned them on the side, basically found out where the position was, and they've got a hole in the side there, so I marked that position on the side of the steel work, drilled a hole, put a nut and a bolt through, and I'm actually using the original plastic mounts to hold that in place. And like I said, it's good and solid. I've only used 2. I was going to use 3 actually, but after I put the first 2 in and found out how how solid it was, I thought that'll do. I've just got the inverter board there, just connected up temporary. And what I'm looking at now is how I can connect up the actual logic board to it. And what I'm hoping to do actually is mount it perhaps down there. I don't know if I'm going to get away with that now, just thinking about it, because of how long this cable is here to get up to the connection it needs to on there. But that's basically the next thing I've got to try and figure out, is how to get that board connected back up to the actual screen so it's going to work. I'm not going to worry too much about things like the control here, the infrared or anything like that at the moment. So the first thing I really want to do is just get that board working again with the LCD and see if we can actually get a image on it. Put all the cowling and everything back on this thing and just see what it actually looks like. So I'm going to have a bit of a fiddle about with this, just see how I'm going to get that board to mount up on there, and then we'll be right back in a minute. Right, okay, I've got the board all mounted in now. Now I did cheat a little bit. What I've done is I've got the metal backplane there, and I basically just snipped the little ears off that held it into the old case, and then I used some of this really strong double-sided tape, ran it along the top there, and I just stuck it to the back of the LCD panel. I know that's not going to be perfect, and I know that's not going to be permanent, but it will at least do for the time being, so we can actually see and make sure that this monitor is actually going to do what I want it to do. Again, with the speakers, what I will probably end up doing is just gluing them there and there, but for now the magnets are holding them in place, so for testing purposes that should do. Next thing I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to have to extend the cable on that little panel there. So, because basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to run that panel out of the cabinet for the moment, just so I can actually operate the monitor. So it's not going to be perfect for now, but it will do for, you know, testing and just playing about with the monitor, because obviously we need the controls there to be able to set the inputs and things like that. So what I'm going to do, I will get that so I've got a longer cable on it. I've just found a power supply that I used to use with this monitor, so I'll get that set up. We'll come back when I'm in a little bit of a closer situation, or when I've got the cover back on it, and we can actually have a look at this thing actually working in the computer. So back very shortly. Okay, as you can see, I've basically got it together. I've just got to put the front cowling back on. Now, what I've done, basically I've connected the buttons for all the operations of the TV onto that. I'm going to feed that, and I didn't have a SCART to a male to female SCART long enough to do it, so I've just connected something up for the moment so we can actually get an image on the screen when we're ready. Something to play with anyway, so I'll feed that through there. I think I should just about have enough flex on that to feed that through there as well. We'll get the front panel back on, and we'll see how well this is actually going to look. So, right, there we go. I'm not going to screw it in position yet, I'm just pushing it. There's something there preventing. Oh. There we are. It won't go in fully, I don't think, until there's something on that. Why is that not going in there? I've not got something quite where it should be there, because that side's not going in, so just bear with me a second. I'm just going to correct that. There we go, folks, sorry about that. It just needed a tiny little bit of percussive adjustment just to get it in. So basically, there we go, that's the LCD monitor fitted. At the moment, all I've got is the controls for the menu, the power and volume and everything just there. I'm going to make something better which can essentially come out there like that, which will allow us the controls for the actual screen there. Then we'll also need some way of actually getting to the inputs and the outputs on that. But like I said, we'll work on that on a future video. At the moment, I just want to see an image on that screen, basically, see if it's going to look okay. See if we can actually shrink it down, because the aspect ratio is not going to be quite 4:3, but it'll still work nice enough for what we want. So I will get some power leads. I will get us a signal source we can actually test this thing with, and we will actually have a look and see how well this is going to work. So back in a sec. Okay, I was going to say, I've just put my power up the monitor and it has actually come up. Let's see if the buttons are going to work. So yeah, we can actually scroll through all the different excellent. AV1, AV2, I think it's AV1's the SCART, which is what I'm actually connected to at the moment. That's for PC. So we are getting all the signals. Yeah, PC. That is what's it? Component. AV2, which is the composite. AV1, which is the SCART, and then we're obviously we've got an analog TV tuner built into it as well. We've got a volume, so hopefully we should get some audio out of this as well. What I'm going to do, just for a bit of fun, seeing we've been fiddling about with this thing, let me I've still got some rubbish on the floor, so I'm struggling to get the camera into a really good position, but get you on there like that. And what I've just dug out from upstairs is I've got a Mega Drive. And this is exactly what I want to be able to use this for. Let me get you where I can get you down so you can see. So we've got a Mega Drive there. Power supply. Yeah. Well, this isn't a Mega Drive power supply, but it's one that will do the job. Get that plugged in like that. Plug that into the Mega Drive. Plug this AV cable, which is it's a Mega Drive or a Master System 1 AV cable. There we go. On. Oh, nothing coming on there. We should be getting something out of that now. Why is the Mega Drive not firing up? Oh, there we go. Sorry, I had the wrong switch in the wrong position. So let's switch that back off. Let's get a controller. Might as well do it properly, haven't we? Plug in there, switch on. There we go. See if we've got any volume. There we go. Actually, that doesn't sound too terrible. And we've really not lost a terrible amount of the thing there. I will be able to, I'll have to get into the menu. I'll have to look up the model number, find the service manual, so I can get into the setup menu and just shrink the image down a little bit. That shouldn't be a major issue. That shouldn't be a major thing to do. But this is going to work brilliant. And that screen is just ideal for doing this on this thing. So we've now got a proper LCD screen there. and it's sharp. I mean, this was a nice monitor. I've always liked this monitor since I got it. But as you can see, you know, what I might end up doing though is making something just to cover over that. I suppose I could really, honestly, I could use a cutting disc and actually cut that out. I might think about it whether to do it. It would be a little bit of work, but I could potentially cut out those top and bottom and really have it the full 4-3, because the plastic there is right. It's the fact that I've forgotten we've got the mounting brackets top and bottom there, which are showing on the screen. If we was to cut that out, so it is to that actual shape, I have to be very, very careful with a cutting disc to do that. But that's a possibility. But I am really, really pleased with that. This works perfectly. You know, this is exactly what I wanted. Was a screen like that built there, like something modern. It'll do VGA, it'll do composite, it'll do RGB SCART, it'll do component, which is all we really need. All I've got to do now is sort of something better than that sticking out the front. We do have a nice gap there actually where something came out of the system, so I should be able to build something that goes possibly out here with them controls on it, and possibly with the you know, like the SCART and all the connections on it, so we can connect straight to whatever we've got down on this workbench. Switch that off. So like I said, that works. I'm really, really, really happy with that. Let's get you over onto me. There we go. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Like I said, this was just a quickie on seeing if we could actually get a screen to fit in that space and not look terrible. And I'm quite pleased with it. Like I said, I don't think that looks bad. It certainly does exactly what we want it to do, you know. And even them speakers don't sound terrible. You don't need brilliant speakers for something like this. It just needs to have audio that's fairly nice and clear. And that's not bad at all, you know, the audio's fine. I mean, we won't want to go any... That's full volume, but we're not going to need that in here. I was actually considering fitting some other amplified speakers into this, but I still might, for the fact that the other two monitors won't have access to the amplifier on this. I'd have to have it all connected up at once to be able to use the audio from here if I was using one of the other monitors. So I might fit another little audio amp and some speakers in here. There's plenty of space in the cabinet to do it. But I mean, so far I'm really, really happy with that. That's worked out as well as I was hoping it to. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now, because I hope you enjoyed this little update on the project. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.